Hello everyone, I am Dr. Minidhavan and today we will discuss the second chapter of economics, that is sectors of Indian economy. First we should understand what are sectors. See, literally sector means a portion that is distinct or different from another. In other words, we can call it groups or classification based on important criterias. In order to understand economy, one needs to understand its sectoral composition. In India, sectoral classification is done on following basis. First, on the basis of economic activity, we divide the sectors into primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. On the basis of employment conditions, we divide sectors into organized and unorganized sector. On the basis of ownership, we divide sectors on the basis of public and private sectors. So this is the sectoral classification and this is what we are supposed to read in this chapter. Sectors define a large segment of the economy in which businesses share the same or a related product or services. Economic activities are which contribute to the flow of goods and services in an economy. Primary sector, it includes agriculture and allied activities like fisheries, dairy, poultry, etc., which produce goods or exploit natural resources. This is why this sector is also called agriculture sector and related sector. Secondary sector. It transforms the raw material into some final products. It includes manufacturing, construction, etc. Where main activity is manufacturing, then it is secondary sector. All industrial production where physical goods are produced comes under the secondary sector only. For example, making sugar, jaggery, that is good from sugarcane. Sugarcane comes from primary sector and we process it and make sugar. This will come into secondary sector. Tertiary sector. When an activity involves providing services, it is the tertiary sector. It is simple as that. The sector doesn't produce any goods, but it provides supporting services like banking, transportation, etc. These activities help in development of primary and secondary sector. This is a support system which facilitates the industrial activity. We can say in simple words, the people who are not selling commodities but their services, for example banks, lawyers, teachers, barber, etc., they do not sell anything. They just provide services. Let us take few examples. Let the first be transportation. Goods that are produced in primary and secondary sector, they need to be transported by trucks and trains and then they are sold in wholesale or retail markets. Second example is storage. Sometimes it is necessary to store goods in godowns or cold storages. If there is excess production, there is a need to store it. For that matter, this is the service people make use of. Third is communication. Talking to people on phone, you all understand how important that is. Banking, borrowing or depositing money. Since these activities, they generate services. So tertiary sector is also called service sector. Interdependence of sectors. To understand the interdependency, let us take the example of cold drink. A cold drink contains water, sugar and artificial flavors. Suppose if there is no sugarcane production, it will become difficult and costly for the cold drink manufacturer to get sugar. Now to transport sugarcane to sugar mills and sugar to cold drink plants, we need service of a transporter. Now certain people are required to monitor this. Here comes the role of administrative staff. Fine. Now let us go back to the farmer. He needs fertilizers, seeds, agricultural implements which are processed or manufactured in some factory and now needs to be delivered at his doorstep by some means of transport. Moreover, at every step, we require monetary and banking services. So it is proved that all these sectors, they are interdependent on each other. The value of final goods and services produced in each sector in a year tells the production of that particular sector. Now, the sum of production in all three sectors gives us the GDP of the country. GDP is the gross domestic product. GDP is the value of all final goods and services produced within the country in a particular year. It shows the economic strength of the country. Here remember this, that while calculating the GDP, only the value of final goods is to be included because final goods already includes the value of intermediate goods. Final goods, they are the goods which are ready to use. For example, a pen. You go to market, you buy a pen and you use it. That is a final goods. Intermediate goods, which are needed during the production process. So in this case, it will be nib, ink, plastic body, so on and so forth. Let's take another example. Let's take bread. Bread is a final product, but intermediate products are wheat, flour, baking powder, packaging material, etc. Fine. In India, the central government is the one which undertakes the task of measuring GDP. Now, this graph is showing the production of goods and services in all the three sectors and the rising importance of tertiary sector, which is becoming most grown sector. If you will see this graph, this shows the production of goods and services in all three sectors for 2 years, that is 1973-74 and 2013-14. In year 1973-74, share of the primary sector was more than the secondary and the tertiary sector. Tertiary sector is shown little less than the primary sector here. Over these 40 years, while the production in all three sectors has increased, you will see it has increased most in the tertiary one. Here in 2013, it is shown in the greenish color. Tertiary sector has become the largest producing sector in India, replacing the primary sector. Now, question arises, why it is becoming the most important sector? Services such as hospitals, educational institutions, post and telegraph offices, courts, village administrative offices, police stations, municipal corporations, transport, banks, insurance companies, etc. They are considered as basic services and are necessary for all people. The development of agriculture and industry leads to the development of services such as transport, trade, storage, etc. With the rise in the income of people, they start demanding more services like eating out, tourism, shopping, private hospitals, private schools, professional training, etc. More income means more service. When per capita income increases, the demands of the people, they also increase. Over the past decades, certain new services based on information and communication technology have become important and essential. Now, where most of the people are employed, we have got three sectors: primary, secondary and tertiary. More than half of the workers in India are working in primary sector, mainly in agriculture. It contributes only a quarter of the GDP. If we will see in secondary and tertiary sectors, these sectors employ less than half of the people as compared to the primary sector. These sectors produce 4/5 of the product. Now, this graph paints a very distressing picture. The share in providing employment was not in tune with the share of GDP. Agriculture provided employment to 75% workers in 1973, if you may see here, the blue portion, and this got decreased to 60% in year 2000. Again, it is shown in blue portion, which is not very big drop, but drop in GDP contribution was also there. On the other hand, growth in employment provided by the other sectors, means secondary and tertiary, was substantially low. The meaning of this finding is, 1, majority of people are still employed in agricultural activities, as agriculture provide seasonal employment during cropping seasons. So chances of hidden employment are there. Now, what is this hidden employment? We'll talk about it later. It is, in fact, we have seen that developed countries, their dependency shifts from primary sector to the tertiary one. Hence, can be told that India is still lagging behind because majority of population is dependent on agriculture. 2, secondary and tertiary sectors have failed to generate enough employment opportunities, making pressure on primary sector. Although the educated and skilled workforce does get employed in secondary sector and tertiary sector, but what about unskilled labor? For unskilled and semi-skilled workers, there is still shortage of employment services. Now, we will talk about type of unemployment: hidden or disguised unemployment and open unemployment. In this, worker is ready to work but is unable to find work. It can be in any of the sector. Hidden unemployment means that more people are working on a project than are required. So if we even remove a few people, the production will not be affected. This is also known as disguised unemployment, or we can say hidden unemployment. Why? Because people appear to be working but not in their full capacity. Mainly it is found in agriculture sector. For example, to cultivate 1 hectare of land, 10 workers are required, but instead 15 workers are engaged in farming. In this case, 5 people are disguised unemployed. In such case, even surplus labor, if removed, will not affect the production. Now, underemployment can also happen in other sectors. For example, there are thousands of casual workers in the service sector in urban areas who search for daily employment. They are employed as painters, plumbers, repair persons, and doing other odd jobs. Many of them, they don't find work every day. Likewise, we see other people of service sector on the street pushing a cart or selling something where they may spend the whole day but will earn very little. They are doing this because they do not have better opportunities. So today we learnt about different sectors of economy on the basis of economic activities, how they are interdependent, and why tertiary sector is becoming more important. Very soon I'll come up with next part of this video. Till then, keep safe, keep learning. Have a good day.